Well, hello everybody. How are you all doing today? I tell you, I certainly hope that each and every one of you out there are doing all right. I really do. And I pray that this video finds you in good health and spirit. I really do. Good health and good spirits. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. And I would like to welcome all of you to another episode of TJ's Topics. That's right. And of course, yours truly is TJ. And it is certainly a pleasure to be with you again. I consider it a joy, an honor, and a privilege to be able to come into your presence on any given occasion. And it's a privilege that I don't take for granted either. I want you to know that. Now, today we have a little topic that I would like for us to partake of for just a few moments. My topic for today is following trends prevents originality. That is what we are going to discuss. Following trends prevents originality. Now, we all know what trends are, the thing that's hot at any given moment. And we see trends all the time, be it clothes, shoes, hairstyles. Um, they could be uh, perhaps entertainment, music and whatever's on television, movies, anything. Oh, and yes, one of the biggest trends right now, one that I simply can't stand myself, is when it comes to home decor, all that old gray. They're making everything gray. That has become a trend. Painting the walls gray, painting you know, I mean, gray furniture, gray floors, and even the light fixtures and stuff. They have this grayish hue about them. I mean, come on now. What is the meaning of all of this? But it's a trend. But I don't know about you, but me, I've never been one to follow a lot of trends. I've always been the type of person who preferred to be original. In other words, to do my own thing, dance to my own music, march to the beat of my own drum. I mean, that's the kind of life that I've always tried to live to the best of my ability. But you have a lot of people out here who, for some reason or another, they they simply don't understand the true meaning of originality. And they want to do what they see everybody else doing. They want to act like everybody else. They want to walk and talk and live like everybody else. But if you ask me, I would say that that's really not the best way to be. You know, I'm going to tell you another trend that I can't stand either. That's probably worse than all this gray interior. Everything that you see in the house being gray. Uh, Walking around with sagging britches. These young fellas walk around here with these pants sagging, showing their underwear. I mean, that just doesn't look good. How can they expect to get a job? Go into a place of business and apply for work and pants sagging. You know, I mean that and us being black men, we have to be careful about how we carry ourselves because we already have more than a few strikes against us. But nowadays I see some of these white boys out here trying to sag, and I don't know what they're getting out of it, but it's ridiculous. It really is. And then some people just don't care to be themselves anymore. They want to be like everybody else. They want to do what they see everybody else doing, and thinking that that's going to help them advance in the world, but it's really not. You know, I mean, I always thought that originality was the way to go. I know it was during the time in which I grew up, but I know that things have changed a lot since my upbringing. You know, my childhood was very exceptional, and I tried to fit in, but I never could because I knew that I was different. And when you know you're different, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb, and people will poke fun at you as a result of that. They'll laugh at you, they'll make fun of you because you're different. you know you dress different, you behave different, you talk different, you walk different. Everything about you is different, and they don't like that. Society does not have much regard for things or people that are different. I learned that when I was 5 years old, when I was in kindergarten, and I colored. Our kindergarten teacher, she gave us some cartoon elephants to color on a worksheet, and I knew what color elephants were. They were gray or whatever. But I didn't want to color my elephant gray. I knew all my classmates were. They were going to color their elephants gray. I wanted my elephant to be different. So I decided to color it orange because that's just how I felt at that particular time. And so I colored my elephant orange, and I took it home and I showed it to my mama. Now, while I can't remember exactly what my mama said about it, I do remember exactly what my auntie said about it because she was at the house that day when I brought my elephant home. And so I showed it to her. And she told me, Taryn, an elephant is not orange. An elephant can be black or he can be gray, but an elephant is not orange. And when she told me that, immediately I felt so invalidated. I felt, I just felt this depression come over me. I just, I was very unhappy after that. And it was at that moment when I learned that sometimes we have to go along to get along. Basically, we have to kind of disguise ourselves. We have to hide our true identity and who we are just so that we can be able to navigate through this world and survive, because there are so many people out here who don't like things that are different. And so that's the reason why there are so many trends around that people tend to follow instead of creating their own thing, doing their own thing. They want to be like everybody else and do what others have done before them. Now, there's nothing wrong with taking tips from others, on how to do a thing. You can take tips from people who came before you and just put your spin on it, and then it makes it seem like it's something new. And to many people out here, it would be something new if they've never been exposed to anything like that before. But it's like society has lost all sense of creativity. It really has. And I tell you, it's really disappointment when you think about it. So following trends prevents originality. And I hope that you're not one of those people out there who is trying to keep up with the Joneses or anybody else trying to be like them, when you can do your own thing and you can start something new that perhaps people will want to follow in your footsteps. So with that being said, I want to thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of TJ's Topics. I really do appreciate it. And I'm going to tell you this, the older I get, the less I want to be like anybody else. Because by the time you see this video, I will be approaching my 46th birthday. I'll be 46 years old. And I'm getting close to 50. I don't have time to be trying to keep up with anybody. I'm doing the best I can just to be myself. And I hope that you're trying to be yourself too. Thank you so much once again. And I look forward to seeing you again next time, okay? This is Taryn Jerome Harris reminding you that every round goes higher and higher. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.